Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's Sebuwam and I appreciate that you're here with me today. So I'm out here in somewhere in Northwest and I have the Ford Ranger Fx4 with me right here. So what I'm going to be doing today is basically just seeing how comfortable this car is on unpaved surface, because this is like a gravel road. So we're going to be trying to reach the national speed limit. I think it's 100 kilometers per hour on unpaved roads. So yeah, so we're going to be reaching that and then trying to see if this car can be comfortable, because what we know about the FX4 is that it is like the improved version of a normal 4x4. So this vehicle is expected to handle like this kind of a road surface way better than a lot of 4x4s out there. So, but wait, I haven't really driven a lot of 4x4s on like unpaved roads, but I grew up in an area where I've been driving on gravel roads. Like even my first drive, I started on a gravel road, exactly like this one actually, sometimes even worse. So because roads can be worse, especially like this, we need to scan it first. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna go like one way, scanning the road like normally before we can attempt to do like high speed and so on, so that we do not find ourselves in a ditch or ruining the car. I mean, this is our first manufacturer provided test car that you guys got for the channel, and we don't want to ruin that. So I'm super grateful for that, always and forever grateful, you know that. So we're gonna go now, scan the road, and then when we return we're gonna be shooting. All right, so we just scanned the road now. We just came back, we just came actually from that way. You see back there, the dust is still settling and so on. That's where we came from. We're going to turn back now and shoot. So just a little bit about the car. This is basically the normal XLT. As much as I said it's expected to be an improved version of other 4x4s, it's because of the FX4 badge. But otherwise, it's still the normal XLT dressed in like accessories and so on, because you see it has like blacked out 18-inch rims. They look so amazing, by the way. You're looking at the grill is blacked out. The undercarriage protector, I think they call it that, it's blacked out as well. You see the DRLs. This is the second facelift Ranger. As you can see, the day running lights are blending well with this paint actually. Everything else surrounding the car, it's just accessories that you're seeing. The blacked out door handles, the mirrors mainly are that. And another distinctive feature of course is this sports bar at the back that is extended. Other people may find it to be like odd, but I got used to it because I found it to be a little bit functional and helping me to see where the car ends through the rear view mirrors. Otherwise, let's go. So guys, I'm still going to do like a full review of the car, interior, exterior, all those things. How does it feel to live with and so on. But for now, let's focus on the objective. Of course, we've got a 4x4. I mean, we have a 2 high, 4 high, 4 low. Those are the ranges that you get in this car. So normally when you're driving on a normal day, tar road, 2 high recommended. It's going to be driving on 2 wheels. Normally it's going to be rear wheels, but traction control is still there to actually help you to pick up and so on. 4H is on gravel road and uneven surfaces and so on to help you with traction when it's slippery and so on, just a bit. But when you are in serious trouble, that's when you put in like 4 low, like low range, so that it can get you out of that sticky situation. Otherwise, I'm putting it on sport now. We need like full response from the vehicle, and then we can be able to just go and keep going. So, okay, tips, just little tips that I know about the gravel road here and there. You know, it's very difficult sometimes to pick up speed, especially when it's bumpy. Luckily, we didn't start in a bumpy area and so on, but once you are in motion, it's recommended that you just keep going so that you can just be above the bumps and not necessarily be like the car will be shaking and so on every bump if you are driving too slow. But once you are on, follow the tracks as well. You know, the tracks are very important because that's where then mostly the road is much better for you to travel on basically. And then mud, avoid that. Another thing to avoid is sand. you can end up like in the ditch if you're not avoiding that. That's very, very key for me. So those are just little tips, because sometimes, you know, you might think you don't necessarily need these tips until your friend just invites you to some wedding where you have to travel around 30 kilometers on a gravel road like this, because for some reason weddings are always in like places like this if they're out of town or whatever. So in here we're now just on the way, moving as hard as we can, because we are chasing that national speed limit, which is 100 kilometers per hour. Of course, we can't go above that. So far, it's very impressive for me to find that, you know, this is a very robust vehicle actually. You know, I started driving on a gravel road with a Toyota Stallion basically. So you can imagine, 1997 Toyota Stallion, it's like everything was shaking. I was so tired after my first run. But in here, I'm finding it to be like a little bit relaxed, because this steering wheel actually is like one of the best that I've, like in any car basically, not even in a buggy whatsoever. This steering wheel is so light and it can easily just respond when you're trying to turn like on curves and so on. It's wow. I mean, this is one of the lightest steering wheels. Otherwise, when it comes to suspension, I'm finding it to be rather, you know, when it comes to the bumps, the normal ones, almost normal. It's like just riding above them, and it's so like it's holding quite well than I expected actually, because this is a big vehicle. It like the body itself has this big sports bar that I was expecting to be like shaking, and I could like I thought I'm gonna feel it through even my ears and so on, but I feel that this thing is like well screwed together. The whole body is well screwed together actually. Back to the suspension though, I can say when it's like when you're hitting the big ones, you know, when you're hitting the big ones, that's when you can feel that actually this suspension is taking a hit. But it's not necessarily bad, especially when it comes to the normal gravel shakes that you usually get in other cars. It's protecting the car quite well, and also the way that these 18 inches are like protecting how hard, like that hard road sound that comes from the wheels, that comes from like the rocks and everything hitting the car. It feels like it's well insulated, and I believe it owes this to the obviously the profile of the tire is quite big, so that it can be able to absorb all the sound that needs to come from the gravel road and so on. I'm finding it to be rather comfortable actually when it comes to that. It's just when you are hitting like the big ones. Obviously it's not a lot of cars that can handle this. I mean, they do have a Ford Raptor. I believe that can do a lot better job than obviously a normal XLT. But for what it is, I'm like finding it to be way easy actually to just even to swerve around. It's quite easy when you're just going from left to right, trying to duck the rocks, because that's mostly what you're gonna be doing on like the gravel road. You're going to be ducking and diving all the time. But when it comes to this car's ability to hold on to the road, I'm finding that it's not like skidding a lot to the left or right. It doesn't leave the tail behind whatsoever. It's able to follow you. Like, I don't find that oversteer. I'm sure that if you put it on 2H, then it can lift it. Obviously the tail is going to go like the other way, so you just need to be careful of that. That's why I'm saying this 4H thing, traction, it's keeping everything together. Even when you're taking a curve like this, it can easily just, you know, just point the way that you want it to just point. Now let's see how, like, let's push it just a bit to get to that 100 and see then if it can easily just, you know, how will it feel? Come on, I hope I scan this road. I believe this is the better part of the road where we can just pull it as hard as we can and see how it do. So yeah, let's do that. Let's pull it. Come on, Ford. Come on. Still on like 90, 95. Come on. Yep. That's it. That's the national speed limit, guys. Can't get higher than that. This is the recommended speed on a gravel road. And as much as, you know, normally you're fighting with the car and also the road, in here at least I'm only fighting with the road because I'm just scanning the road to see then where are the obstacles. But otherwise the car, you know, I'm not finding it to be requiring like a lot of skill whatsoever to actually drive it like with like what I'm used to. I'm finding it to be rather, you know, you can, as long as you can scan the road properly, your eyes are like, okay, your eyes are fine, you can be able then to just go around it like easily actually. I think on the long like distance, you're going to be tired because you're scanning the road all the time. But the car itself, I'm not finding it to be that tiring. It can easily just be fun. As a matter of fact, I'm enjoying it more on the tar road than I've enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it more on the gravel than I've enjoyed it on the tar road, actually. I'm finding it to be, wow. I think Ford has done a great job. This FX4 badge, international-wise, they would be expecting much more like a Raptor kind of. Not necessarily, obviously, that level, but it's the one below, according to international people, whatever I can call them. Otherwise, I think, wow, they've done a great job, actually, with this vehicle. I'm not finding it to be rather, like, underwhelming. I'm enjoying it, and I think I can do much more of this. I've traveled on gravel roads for, like, way long distances from a very young age. And I think if we had these kind of vehicles at that age, life was going to be way better. I mean, my bum, my back, everything was going to be feeling way better even then. But yeah, wow, okay. That's, the aircon was off and I'm sweating, but I think Ford has done a great job with this vehicle. I think if you have a lot of gravel to cover, like whatever trip that you're taking, you can actually take the FX4 on the road and you won't necessarily be disappointed. You'd be tired from scanning the road, but I don't find that the car is requiring a lot of skill, and wow, this thing is so robust, man. Like, it feels like every little screw was so, like, it was screwed in so tightly that everything feels well put together. It's like it doesn't necessarily have an extension of a load bay. It's like everything was like welded together in one steel, and that's not the case. It's quite impressive, actually, how robust this bike feels, eh? I'm impressed. I'm impressed. For a gravel road, like for the way it's handling this gravel road, I'm actually quite impressed. Otherwise, with that said, see you on the next one. I'm still going to cover the FX4. Thank you very much for watching, and I am out.